It is raining like crazy in Los Angeles today, and my power went out last night for the first time ever in the history of me living in my apartment. I'm gonna park so we can talk. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I was gonna say a little bit different of an upload, but really it's not. For starters, I'm sick as the dog. These are all tissues. These are all used tissues. I had a cold pretty bad, or a cold hit me pretty bad, and it's just been like not the most sleep over the past like 4 or 5 days. So sleep helps when you're sick. I'm not really helping myself a lot here. So that's A, so energy levels. And B, in today's video, we're covering actually the new lunchtime, legendary lunchtime event, right? Legendary lunch hour. We're going to talk about this kind of like new experimental feature or kind of like event that Pokemon GO is gonna start bringing in pretty soon here, which is awesome. We're gonna talk about that. I'm also gonna give an update on the progress of the mental health platform, along with maybe a little bit about it, and also go over an instance that happened that many of you might have seen on Twitter regarding anxiety and a hoodie. You guys can see how messy. Actually, the room's not messy. That's messy. But these are clean. This hoodie right here. My anxieties have anxieties, and then on the back is the dictionary definition of anxiety. I actually wore this with my friends to Disneyland when I went a couple days ago. So Twitter had a lot to say about this hoodie, so we're gonna talk about that as well. I think that's kind of important here. But first, I do know for a fact that I have 7-kilometer eggs to hatch, and we're gonna get those popping up as we talk about the legendary lunchtime, and then we're gonna get a little lure sesh going because new shinies are here in Pokemon GO that I feel like I should probably, at least try to get. And we're gonna talk about like the, I would say the more important stuff, obviously, because like that's where like what I'm working on, but like the less Pokemon GO, more like mental health and Twitter controversy stuff. Also, I met Keemstar last night and thanked him on behalf of the Pokemon GO community for, making our CP claim more public. Okay, that's Hatchmix. All right, the legendary lunch hour. Also, if you wanna know how I always know everything when I'm talking about it and reporting the news, 2 phones. This one being the corporate phone. That worked. And can I get yes, I can get the star piece off before the eggs hatch. I think this counts, right? Like this should, little Stardust sesh. Can I get an egg off too? Okay, so sweet. So what we're gonna do is, immediately after this happens, we're gonna go and get the lure session. Okay, legendary lunch hour, a new experiment. And what this is gonna be doing here, essentially it's a test event for, potentially something that they might keep doing in the future, I'm assuming depending on how the community takes it. So this is kind of always fun to see, new stuff brought in, especially like new event stuff, especially around legendaries. To give you more ways to enjoy Pokemon GO, we're trying out a new event called Legendary Lunch Hour. Hey, Badoo. I actually like how they're doing this, by the way. From 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. in your local time zone, the fact that they're localizing time zone for events, these hatches are good. The fact that they're doing localized time zones for events is a much better system than like the same time all around the world, or like in, specific areas of the world. I like the localized time zone thing better. From noon to 1 p.m. in your local time zone, there will be an increased, hatches are great, man, increased number of raids to test your battle skills alongside your friends, coworkers, and classmates. The first legendary lunch hour will take place on March 13th, and with your help, we hope to make this an event you can enjoy every week, every single week. They want to do a legendary lunch hour every single week. And the first one, again, it's March 13th from noon to 1 p.m. in your local time zone, which is, again, a great system. I'm glad they're going by that. And the features include, obviously, there will be an increased number of raids during this. I thought this was almost 100%. This is a really bad diggly buff. An increased number of raids during the event hours. So you'll just be able to hit more raids. And obviously, since it's legendary lunch hour, I'm gonna assume that the legendary raids are gonna be a little bit heightened. Like we saw with Latias. When Latias was out here for its shiny form, there were legendary raids everywhere. So I'm assuming the same thing will happen during this hour, to where there's gonna be raids probably almost at every single gym, but a majority of those raids will be legendaries. So that's a really, really cool thing. And this is fun. And the fact that they're willing to do this once a week, that's huge, man. We have come so far from where we were 2017, where, we went like 1 full month in between updates, and now it's like weekly events like this. That's so fun. A lot of Azrael, by the way. Dude, a shiny Azumarill would be so cool. Oh my gosh. And then the Rattata, hello. So that is a great event. In my opinion, that is awesome, super exciting, and something I really look forward to participating in as well, because I actually will be home this weekend, so I'll be able to get out there and get some raids there, which is nice. But that's cool, and it's a test event, so we don't know if this is gonna happen every single every single, was that a 1-day streak? Oh gosh. We don't know if this is gonna come back for certain, but I think it should, man. I really like the idea just off the start, so we'll see how it goes. But let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on the legendary lunch hour event? Do you guys want to see it happen every week? And if you do, what are some tips you can give Niantic to maybe make it more fun and more fair for people? Because I think this is a really, really cool event, and should help people a lot when it comes to trying to grab those legendaries. So that's cool. Also, I think we just grab the stamp. Yeah, we'll just grab it. It's a pineapple berry. Sweet. All right, we'll get some research done too at the park. So now we're gonna go over to Evolution Park and talk logistics, talk project, talk shop, and talk about the Twitter instance. Okay, so back at the, okay, there was a Machop right there. I literally went to click it, spawned the moment I clicked. Back at the park once again, we hear quite a bit. Let me see if I can get some better lighting, because I already know that that was not good lighting. Oh God. Also, I figured it was pretty fitting just to wear this hoodie as we talk about it a little bit today. Oh, there's Machop, and there it goes. Dude, Drift, come on. Well, let's start off by getting the Lucky Egg, Star Piece, and Incense down once again. Hold on, Machop. So I guess a quick progress report on the platform, if anyone's curious about that one. And a Krabby Incense, that's interesting. Man, this would be so cool to have. When it comes to the corporate setup of this whole thing, because it needs a corporate foundation in order to, like, scale and be successful. The corporation is filed, the DBA is being filed, it's pretty much filed, which is the doing business as name. The trademark for the name and potential logo of the platform in the process of being filed. So corporately, doing pretty good. And also something that I'm considering that I tweeted about, and I'd love to get your thoughts now. I'll ask it on the channel because I'm a little bit more confident. I'm gonna punch this Machop in the face, by the way. Tweeted about this, and I want to get your opinions in the comments because I got them on Twitter and it was positive for the most part. If I started a Kickstarter to help fund the beginning of this platform, because it's not just a platform, it's a startup. This is like a startup company, it's like a very traditional startup company. A tech startup company, which is even more difficult than a startup company. If I did a Kickstarter with just crowdfunding, don't tell me in the comments, like, would you donate to it? I wanna know just what your thoughts on the idea are. Not would you contribute, but what do you think of the idea of me allowing you guys to help fund, this project? Also, this is the first Mankey check. Curious on your thoughts there, because it's a serious consideration of mine. And essentially, whatever you guys would donate, I'd either match or double out of my own personal money. So that's kind of how that would work upon the initial funding of the platform. But curious to see what you guys think about that. Okay, let's keep the lures going. And then, yeah, as far as the platform goes, still kind of moving in the right direction. The developer contract should finish up pretty soon here. So the official start should happen pretty soon here. Exciting stuff. I'm liking these Krabby spawns, man. Not gonna lie, this is a good joint. Also, Machop off the incense. Hi. Okay, let's get to the apparently controversial stuff. Let's talk a little bit about this hoodie. My anxieties have anxieties hoodie. So it's obviously public knowledge on this channel that, like, I struggle with anxiety. I was very open about that once it happened, and a majority of you, I'm sure, know the story of, like, where it really, I guess I might have always had it. I don't really know the answer to that one, but, like, where it really got serious was the Washington DC instance, where, like, I collapsed on the ground of the airport, and I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought I was actually dying. It was kind of a scary thing. I was kind of annoyed at myself for going out that way. And then since then, I've had heart attack anxiety, which is a very specific, it's a classification of anxiety, I guess, to where, like, I would have, like, my heart rate would go up, and then I would flash back to that moment and be like, whoa, am I about to have a heart attack? Like, am I gonna die? Is this serious? And then I'd hype myself up, freak myself out even more, and then I'd have an anxiety attack. Also, I'm gonna get closer to this. We're gonna vary up this gym a little bit. Remember that gym XP is a big thing. Also, it's a windy day here. Sorry about that. I'm gonna see if I can find somewhere better to hide from the wind while talking about this. But you guys know the story. I have anxiety. It's not a secret. Okay, so I have anxiety, which is not much of a secret, nor should it be. So I saw this hoodie go up on Twitter. Karina Kopf is the influencer. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. She's the influencer who, like, put the hoodie out, and she struggles with anxiety. She's very open about it too, so I thought it was kind of a cool thing. I'd also like to somewhat think, also there's 2 Machops here, might I add. I like to somewhat think of myself as, like, a mental health advocate, or at least moving towards that. So I saw the hoodie, and I thought it was a good example of destigmatization and normalization of anxiety within our society, because it's such a prominent issue. I don't think it should be, like, taboo, and I don't think it should be gate kept either, but we'll get into that. So I bought the hoodie, and I wore it because I struggle with anxiety, and I thought this could be kind of an interesting statement. At this point, anything really that's positive that helps with the destigmatization, I see as a very good thing. So that was the idea behind this. I don't know, just I have anxiety. I support destigmatization of mental health issues like anxiety and depression, and I feel like it should be talked about and normalized, you know, because everyone kind of struggles with it. A lot of people do, at least. So that was the thought process behind it, and I tweeted a picture of it. Basically, somebody quote tweeted it saying, "No one with actual anxiety would ever wear this effing hoodie," and then it got a lot of likes and retweets. So I'm just happy that Twitter's full of just super smart clinical professionals that are able to, you know, within seconds of looking at a picture that doesn't even have your face in it, and diagnose you with or without anxiety. So via Twitter, I'm anxiety free. Happy day. Yeah, so that happened, and then I got a lot of negativity, to say the least, in the replies of my initial tweet of the hoodie, talking about just like I didn't put a lot of context behind the tweet. I just said I love this piece, and then tweeted out a picture of it because my fan base gets it. The rest of the Twitter sphere did not get it, unfortunately. But I understand why, and we'll talk about that next cluster because we need to keep catching. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I filmed that tree quite a bit. I think it's so cool. It reminds me of like Avatar Tree of Life-ish. Okay, so American pop culture has this tendency of taking something that's, I mean, meaningful or political or cultural, slapping it on something like a t-shirt and then selling it for profit and completely taking the meaning away from it, and like, you know, turning a serious thing into just like a capital gain and nothing past that. Collection full. I have 2,000 space and my collection is full. I have an issue. So I think on Twitter, and I think Karina got a lot of flack for this too when she was selling these hoodies, and I think she took them down, I'm pretty sure. A lot of people saw that as her trying to turn like anxiety into some like quirky little trend to put on a t-shirt and make money off of, rather than some sort of way for, you know, destigmatization and awareness raising, which is, I think, kind of more where this was leaning, and that's where I took it and why I bought it. So then, you know, with Twitter being Twitter, there's a lot of keyboard activists, so that's kind of what just spiraled out of control from that, which was, again, fun to deal with in the replies. So, I mean, a lot of you guys went on Twitter too and were kind of like replying to people, and thanks for sticking up for me. No worries though, this is actually a really, really good instance, and I see this as a very positive one too. And basically, I was just taken severely out of context on Twitter and then just berated by a bunch of self-righteous, most likely anxiety-filled people, which is why I wasn't too mad about the whole thing, because I understood it. Hold on, gotta get the next cluster. Oh wait, meditate check. Next cluster. I think what happened is that a lot of people got really defensive because they struggle with anxiety. And if you look at the likes and retweets on that tweet, if all of those people struggle with anxiety, that's a lot of people who have anxiety and are, you know, just kind of like being a Twitter activist about it, which is a good thing. It's a good thing that people are kind of like making that opinion heard, and it shows how deep the stigma really goes with people. We're just assuming all those people who attacked me had anxiety. They probably felt defensive that, you know, something that they were going through personally was turned into an item for sale, you know, and it probably struck people the wrong way. And I can definitely see that angle. And I think that was very important too with me trying to build a corporation around helping people mentally. I expect a lot of pushback, essentially. I think there's as big of a stigma as there is around mental health, there's a big stigma around business, around finances, and around corporations, which is why the Silicon Valley Save the World initiative mindset behind a lot of startups is really exciting to watch for me, because I see myself as more of a humanitarian than someone just looking for capital gain. And I'm not really sure where the money went from this hoodie. I don't know if Karina pocketed it or if it went to like a charity. But there were a lot of people saying like, I hope the money went to charity. But it's like, do you know what that means? Like, do you know what charity you're talking about? Do you know what the charity does with that money? Do you know if the money would be even better in Karina's pockets rather than the charity? Like, there's just, you can't just say something so like one-dimensional and like sit on it as if it's an argument. It's just like kind of a blank statement. Like, you should donate that to charity. It's like, okay, well, tell me what charity and why should I pick that charity, and, you know, why should I not reinvest this in my own efforts? Because I expect a lot of fun conversations both on Twitter, on the channel, and throughout the rest of the year, for at least my efforts personally. Obviously, like, the platform that I'm creating is free, but I don't know if I announced that or if I made it apparent, but like, yeah, the platform that I'm developing, it's gonna be free to use, obviously. But that was the big situation with this hoodie. It's just like, you know, I think people felt very defensive because something that they were struggling with personally, anxiety, was taken, the meaning was taken away from it and turned into like, you know, a sellable item, which I could definitely see where that defensive kind of mindset would come in there, and why I got ridiculed so intensely on Twitter. I kind of lean on a couple of Jeff Bezos quotes, and I tweeted one of them. I tweeted two of them, but one I actually directly quoted him and the other one I didn't. I'm just gonna read it off of Twitter so I don't mess it up. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is one of the funniest things I have literally ever seen in my life. This is Elon Musk photoshopped onto Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And he said, yeah, I lifted it. Look at the likes and retweets on that too. Like I can get this a whole conversation. Elon Musk, genius. That's just so funny to me. Okay, if you're gonna do anything new or innovative, you have to be willing to be misunderstood. And I think that's a very, very important thing, especially for new industries like I'm getting into, like mental health. I expect pushback, especially by there's so many bees over here that I'm watching right now, by the way. I expect pushback, especially just by the nature of how sensitive mental health is for people and how new it is. Also, Jubilee, I don't know why you said this ain't it, bro. Please, if you ever disagree with a statement of mine, give me a thoughtful disagreement rather than a this ain't it, bro. Also another quote, actually this is also by Bezos, but it's just like kind of put more into my own words. If you're criticized and after properly examining the situation, realize your critics are correct, change. If you believe they're not correct, don't change. It's as simple as that. So as I was getting just publicly ridiculed on Twitter, I know my intentions, I know where I stand, I know what I'm working towards. And I remember seeing the same girl who tweeted that tweet, quoting my tweet, replied to it with like her Instagram, and she was like, you know, I may have anxiety, but a B word likes attention, and then plugged her Instagram. It's like, okay, so is that what you're going for, like the likes and retweets and numbers? Like, do you really care about anxiety? I don't know, welcome to the internet. I wasn't too pressed about it, but it was a situation that I wanted to talk about because this is something that like we're probably gonna start talking about, start talking about more on the channel, but I see more instances like this happening in the future, and I think it was very important that this like very innocent instance happened now right in the beginning. I think that was a good little learning experience for myself. Yeah, for anybody interested in the whole situation, that's kind of like what happened, and I just thought it was super interesting, just because, like, you know, welcome to the unfiltered world of the internet. Stuff like this happens. Okay, I'm gonna get away from the bees, bro. I love bees, save the bees, just don't sting me. All right, Meditite check, the lures are running up, the star piece eggs running up, and that's today's episode. It was a different one. It was a little bit more conversation around just not Pokemon. We talked about Pokemon Go stuff, and we did a little lure sesh, so, you know, we tried. But yes, that's what's going on with all this stuff. I can hopefully give a better explanation on the mental health project, especially if I do end up doing that Kickstarter. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on that, by the way. I'll obviously give a much more detailed description of like what's going on with that, if that does become a thing. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys next video. Love you, and my anxieties have anxieties.